So the cool thing is, if you look at this, this is the actual shifter mechanism. This goes on the transmission itself up here in the front. That's what we're gonna have to clearance for, is to make sure that this comes through. So we're gonna have to cut that hole out just a little bit to make this shifter fit right around here, okay? And then behind the shifter will be the actual lever itself that you pull on. This mounts behind it, and there's a rod that'll go through this hole right here with a heim joint and connect to the shifter. So when you pull the lever, you'll actually be actuating the shifter up here. Do is we're going to take the lever, we're going to chop the top of it off because we don't need it, and we're going to pin this so it doesn't move, and then we can use this as the mount and use the actuator, the air actuator, between the two. So the air actuator will fire this guy up here on the front of the trans, and it'll be hard mounted to the shifter, original shifter mount in the back. And that's not the typical way of doing it. The typical way of doing it is to mount the actuator forward, where the actuator would be under the dash where you don't see it, which would require you to cut a hole out of the transmission tunnel, which I don't want to do. So instead we can just cut this back just a little bit, this area back here just a little bit, to be able to mount that rear mount where the lever would usually go. And then what we'll be able to do is switch between this lever, which will be pinned, and we'll use the air actuator. And then if you have a problem with the actuation system, or you want to go back to a lever design that's manual, you can easily swap it out. You just pull the bolt, pull the pin, and swap out the shifter linkage, get rid of the actuator, and just put the solid linkage in, and you're good to go. So I can get accurate measurements, order the new barrels, ½ inch less here, ½ inch extra on the inside, or more depending on if we're going to go to a larger tire. Go ahead and take those apart, break them down, swap those inside barrels to these tires, order the new racing slicks where we can run a 260 in the front and a 300 plus in the rear. I got the wheels off the car. These are the front wheels. These are the rear wheels. So I got them off the car so I can take measurements. So this is an 11-inch wheel, and it actually measures 12, and that's because each lip is approximately a ½ inch. So the actual width of the wheel is 11, the inside right here, which means that this, if you include the lip, it means that the outer portion of the wheel, or this lip right here, is approximately 4.5 inches or 4 inches. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to shorten that by a ½ inch, which is going to bring the wheel in some, which means that this section right here will then sit right here in relation to the spokes. And then we're going to take the inside edge and we're going to lengthen it a ½ inch. So it shifts the entire wheel inward while keeping it the same width. Take the ratchet or the socket, wrap it in electrical tape so it doesn't scratch the inside of the lip. These are 12 points, so they're pretty tough. Had to go get a special driver form, a 5/16 12 points from Home Depot to be able to hold the front side, and I'm just zipping them off with my impact because it's really quick. Now I just have to cut the silicone. This is my this is my extra special cutting device here because I lost my little tool that holds the razor blade. And just cut it all the way around. Here's the center section of the wheel right here. And this is what you pay money for. This is what you pay the big bucks for. And this is, a lot of people think this is cast. This is not cast, this is forged aluminum. And so here is, you can see the markings. It says work right here. So it's a genuine piece, and this is pretty heavy duty. Okay guys, so that's why I want to keep these wheels. A lot of people are like, yo, you should go to a one-piece forged wheel. I don't have any like oppositions to a one-piece forged wheel. I think it would be great. But the thing about it is, in this case, this three-piece wheel is high quality. This is not flow form cast or anything like that. This is forged, and what's nice about having a forged piece is it's super strong in the center. But if you were to damage these wheels, more than likely this isn't going to bend or break or crack like a cast wheel. I've actually had cast wheels before on the car. I don't want to call them out because I really like those wheels. They were on my last car, and it was a genuine brand, Japanese brand, and they actually cracked at all 5 spokes when I hit a curb. Now, you know, obviously you shouldn't hit curbs, but you know, on a full forged one-piece wheel, if I were to have hit that curb, it probably would have damaged the car a hell of a lot more because it wouldn't have broken away, and it would have totaled the entire wheel. But in the three-piece case, you can probably get away with a little bit of you know, errors, like if you hit a curb or you curb rash the wheel, something like that. This is probably not going to break, and more than likely you're going to screw up the lips or the barrels, right? And they're easily replaceable. So, and it's literally as simple as that. There's the barrel, there's the lip. I'm gonna order a new one of these, it's a 1/2 inch smaller. A new one of these, it's a 1/2 inch larger. I'm gonna transfer this bad boy to the back side of the front lips, so I'll have a wider front wheel and a wider rear wheel and save some money. So this is the outer lip from the front wheel. This is the outer lip from the rear wheel, which we're getting rid of this one. This is the inner barrel from the rear wheel, which we don't need anymore either. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the outer lip from the front wheel and put it with the inner lip from the rear wheel. So then we have it like this, line it up. That's our new height for the front wheel. So now I'm gonna grab the original front wheel and we're gonna compare the height next to each other. So on the left, we have the new setup using the barrel, the inner barrel from the rear that we're no longer gonna use, with the outer lip from the front, and we have the original front. And you can see the height difference. It's exactly a 1/2 inch wider. So now we can go from a 240 millimeter tire on the front to a 250. And when I say that, I mean tread width. So the actual section width, like if you compared it to a street tire, this would be like a 270 or 275, up from like a 255, 265. So now we're in business. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna probably take these faces, I'm gonna get the rest of these wheels broken down, but I'm gonna take these faces. They're in pretty good shape, but I'd like to re-powder coat them just because the holes, you know, from screwing the lugs in and out so many times over years of owning this car, you know, they're just kind of chewed up a little bit, and I'm all about absolute perfection.